need to share something with you today that I've been hiding, and I'm honestly terrified to say this out loud, but I'm more tired of hiding than I am of being seen. So here we go. So, if you know me and you follow me on social media, you've probably been seeing the highlight reel of me and my boyfriend backpacking in the high country, surrounded by wildflowers and gorgeous views. You've seen me launch Human Design Happy Hour and the Gene Keys Book Club, share bits of wisdom, looking happy and put together. And I am happy, and life is beautiful. But there's this whole other side of me that I haven't been letting you see. And honestly, like I said, I'm tired of hiding and I'm tired of being scared. And so I really want to invite you into this aspect of me, the woman behind it all. So, behind the scenes, I've been struggling. I feel overwhelmed, disappointed in myself, and if I'm being completely real with you, I feel like a failure sometimes. Ever since April, when I had this big realization about how I was being in my business and the online coaching industry, my life direction, I've been wobbling. I really actually hate to say that, but it's true because I've previously postured myself as someone who doesn't waver and is like, don't waver, stay the course, hold the boundary, hold the standards, hold the expectation, and have done the energy work to keep it high and have put myself in containers and in relationships that have supported that and have presented myself as someone who has all this shit figured out. But when my world caved in a few months ago and I realized that I had been living in my ego, that egoic way of living also came down with it. And I've been sitting with these questions of who am I really? How do I want to portray myself? Who am I to label myself as an expert in anything? And how can I truly serve the whole, like to the best of my ability? How can I serve? And maybe there's some imposter syndrome in there for sure. But really, I feel like it's more of this humbling place that I've been called to more than anything. And at the same time, it's been tough. And I'm not going to lie about that. I don't want to lie about that. I don't want to pretend that I have it all together and have it all figured out because I don't. And it's nuanced, right? It's like a blessing and a curse. It's a double edged sword because being in this place and having this realization has brought me back home to myself in many ways. It's obviously helped me be more humble, like I said, and it's helped me launch Human Design Happy Hour and the Gene Keys Book Club, which feels so right and good and have been so much fun, not only for myself, but also for those who are participating. And also, I'm in this podcasting program, which is helping me be more strategic with my show, while also having me fall into perfectionism and analysis paralysis, which I can speak more into soon. But the reason that I've been feeling so shitty about myself is that I'm holding so much that I feel like I can't do it all well. I'm mediocre at best, and I hate that feeling. I have always been a really high achiever and wanted to be the best and like bring my best and like, you know, just be this person that other people can count on and be a leader. I'm born to be a leader. My gene keys speak that through and through. I have a leader trajectory. The seventh gene key in my life's work sphere is all about influence and leadership. My 31st gene key is the gift of leadership in the city of humility. And so I am like born and bred to be a leader, but I've also been like so insecure in ways and unsure. And I know it's all for me. And I know that I'm learning and growing through this, and maybe I'm being too hard on myself, and maybe it's not all true. But there's a quote that says that if you think you're right about anything, you are. And so I've had these thoughts that, like, I'm not doing a good job and I'm inconsistent and I'm right. Because if that's what I think, then it's true. And when your mind's made up with the beliefs, the thoughts that you have versus being in tune with love and reality, there's a delineation, there's a confliction, right? And so the thoughts of like, I'm inconsistent, I can't hold it all, it's too much, I'm overwhelmed, I don't have enough time, I'm faltering, I'm not showing up as strongly and as proudly, as loudly as I could, and just like shaming myself. Those thoughts are right, and they're from fear and lack. And so they're just like keeping me in this lower vibe. And I've had a hard time breaking out of that. And so it's not all been that. Like, I've definitely had these moments and these, days of like everything's good. And maybe it has to do with my cycle, like there's so many different variables coming into play. And even the transits, if you want to like get even more specific into what's going on there. So it's nuanced, it's subtle, it's deep, it's energetic, it's subconscious, it's all these things. And that's just where I've been lately, fluctuating between the frequencies of shadow, fear, lack, and insecurity, and also trust, love, patience, perspective, and embracing the space that I'm in now, which is the messy middle. And it's a roller coaster for sure, as many of you know that life can be, right? And I'm doing my best to embrace it. And at the same time, this is the truth coming out of me as the woman behind it all. I'm holding space for everyone else, but not as much for myself. I'm frustrated that I can't make myself create Instagram posts. Like, I just like have this physical, visceral reaction in my body that causes me to freeze when it comes to content creation. And then I judge myself for not promoting the book club as much as I could because I want more people to know about this work and hop in and all these things. And I get caught in this analysis paralysis from perfectionism around this podcast because I'm trying to learn and implement all the strategies from this program, which takes time. It's very comprehensive, it takes a lot of work. And I'm letting that override me showing up on here and still sharing about the things that I can speak into until I'm blue in the face and just getting an episode out because I want it to be good, not half assed or just put out for the sake of getting an episode out. And so the cycle just continues. The thing that gets me the most is I want to let myself be seen, whether that's on Instagram or on this podcast, but I keep hiding in all of these shadow frequencies. And I was talking to my friend about it today of like, awareness isn't enough, It's like, I am aware that my biggest shadow with my gene key 7 being in my life's work is the shadow of division. And I'm feeling divided with myself. And the repressive or the introverted aspect of that shadow is to hide. And so, again, it's like, I know I'm hiding and I want to let myself be seen so much, but I'm navigating it all. And I just really wanted to show up here today being vulnerable and open and raw and real and true because this is the woman behind it all. And what's more to all of this is I'm over being the strong one all the time, the one who seems so happy and confident. And I am those things and I can be these things and I do live in those energies. But at the same time, not all the time. You know what I mean? And I think that's the biggest confliction that I have is like still allowing myself to be seen whenever it's not perfect, whenever I'm not high vibe. And this is something that I value, but it's also still something that I struggle with allowing myself to do. And sharing about my process of being in the messy middle. As a 1-3, let's just talk about my profile line really quickly. And if you're a 1-3, I hope you can resonate with this. So the first line is all about research and feeling safe enough and having enough foundational resources like water, shelter, food, relationships, but also knowledge, feeling safe to move forward and to share what you're learning about. And the shadow of the first line is analysis paralysis, over researching, not taking action, not sharing. And so I've been living into that shadow. And then the shadow of the third line is all about trial and error and getting your hands dirty and being in the messy middle because I'm always going to be in the messy middle and just letting myself gather experiences throughout life and share about those, like share about my experiences, share about being in the messy middle. But the third line shadow is shame and fear of failure. And so I've also been recognizing that showing up in my expression. And so it's like, it's everything, right? It's like I'm aware of it, I know of it, it's still hard, I'm still struggling with it. I'm doing my best to show up and to serve and to lead and to guide and to manage my energy and my time. And it's a lot. And so I guess I just got to start to love the nuance of life, right? And I do love myself and I am happy and I'm surrounded with beautiful people who love me and support me. And I'm proud of myself and I know I'm doing a lot and I'm handling it all just fine. Like life is just fine. But I know that we all feel this way to a degree or have experienced this at some point in life. And it's just a part of being human. And it's very humbling. And I'm hard on myself. I'm tired of being inconsistent. I'm tired of pretending to be sure and confident and have it all together because I don't. And I didn't want to get emotional on this show, but here we are. And last night I finally had some alone time. I had a late volleyball game and I came home and my boyfriend was asleep and my daughter is gone visiting her dad and our parents and stuff. And so I stayed up a little later and I let myself cry and I sent my friend this long, vulnerable message just because I needed to get it out. And I felt better after that. And I know that I need more alone time for sure. And so that led me into this morning to where I let myself sleep in and I got up and I had my coffee and I sat on my front porch and I was like, I'm going to get into the gene keys. And I knew exactly which one I was going to go to, which was the fourth gene key, which happens to be my pearl. And so, with the fourth gene key, it is the shadow of intolerance, the gift of understanding, and the city of forgiveness. And as soon as I opened the page to the fourth gene key, I started to laugh in ironic humility because I just knew that I've been intolerant to myself. I've been intolerant to the space that I'm in, to the season of life that I'm in, to what I'm holding in life, my capacity, and I'm judging myself for it and just being intolerant of allowing myself to be where I am and not accepting my behavior. And so as I started to read, it just all came together. And so intolerance is really about thinking your mind can solve all your problems. And it's about getting caught up in your emotions and letting that emotional state feel unstable and chaotic, which is exactly what I've been feeling. The fourth gene key, it's found in the ajna, and the ajna is all about certainty and logical thinking and recognizing patterns and rationalizing things and weighing pros and cons. And so this gene key has the power to read and solve logical patterns and to understand the rhythmic patterns and tendencies of life. And when I reflect back on the last couple of summers, I have repeated the same pattern. It's like as soon as spring, like the end of spring, early summer, I go into this pattern of wanting to reject social media and just like not show up and be there as much. And then I feel crappy about myself because it's how I connect with people. It's how I've been trying to grow my business and, build relationships and make connections and put myself out there. And that's what intolerance really is this like slanted perspective of logic and recognizing these patterns when its true role is to understand and communicate what it's witnessing essentially. And so as I started to recognize this pattern I have every summer of retracting and not wanting to put out content and rejecting social media and becoming intolerant and hidden and running away into the mountains, wanting to be free and present and not stressed about showing up online, there was like this aha moment of course, duh. And I recognized it before, but not from this lens of this fourth gene key and what it's actually trying to show me. And the fact that this is my pearl is just the pearl is like the culmination of the harvest of you treading your entire golden path, which I have done multiple times, but it's like continuing to come back to this work, it always lands. And so, between the shadow of intolerance and also the shadow of division, which is my life's work gene key, which I spoke about before about being hidden, I had found this whole list of logical reasons to support my struggles and to make sense of my feelings and all of this. And what I realized is that I've been looking at my problems from every angle, which is the tendency of this fourth gene key of like using your logical mind to like make sense of things, right? Looking at it from all the angles and trying to come up with reasons about why I am the way that I am, why life is the way that it is, how things are happening the way that they are. But The irony is that all of this searching for reasons is the dilemma. Overthinking, overanalyzing is the dilemma, not only of the fourth gene key, but also of my first line profile, right? Because the mind thinks it needs to solve everything by considering all of the angles. But the paradox is that the mind's own logic can never actually solve the paradox. You can't solve your problems with your mind. And understanding, being the gift of the fourth gene key, only dawns when the mind finally releases this grip to figure it all out. And true understanding isn't mental, it's physical, it's in your body, it's from love, right? It's actually what the gene keys call a quantum leap from your mind to your body, from lack and fear and scarcity into love. It's a feeling of full knowing that floods your whole body and radiates from your solar plexus. It comes from the exhaustion of the mind, not the other way around. And this is what I've been experiencing, is just like feeling exhausted from overthinking and overanalyzing and judging myself. And so that's where I am right now. And I realize I'm not going to resolve my problems with my mind, which is the biggest thing that I want to share with you right now, is that it can't be done. Our mind is a tool, it's a resource, but it's not the end all be all to actually answer the deepest questions that we have in our hearts. And so by realizing that you can release this need to solve everything and just let it be okay without trying to fix it, when I can embrace this shadow as it is, just like you can, that's when my mind, or your mind, gets freed up to do what it loves to do best, which is research, communicate, and play. And so, reading the Gene Keys book this morning was my research. Sharing this with you right now is me living into the communication aspect. And now I feel more light and open to just play and to be with life and to show up here as this woman behind it all, struggling, but also surrendering to what life is bringing me and helping me come back to love. That's why I want to share this story. Is I know that you've experienced the same thing too, trying to figure it all out in your head and just like getting super cerebral and cut off from your body. It's like your head walking around disconnected from this whole other aspect of your beingness that is rooted in truth and love and awareness and intuition and rightness, right? The book said this morning when I was reading the fourth gene key that the gift is freed up from having to solve your problems, and it finally comes into its real genius when it does so, to play with the patterns of existence and arrange them in new and original ways. And that's what I feel called towards right now, is recognizing that these patterns show up in my life in the same season every year and exploring new ways to play with them, which is something that I have already had this idea of doing, which is also scary, because what I'm thinking is that I want to let go of Instagram for like 30 to 60 to 90 days and solely focus on my podcast, implementing the strategies that I'm learning in this program and seeing what happens. And it's scary because Instagram has been the top of my funnel. But the truth is that my body and my actions of being averse to creating content in the way that I have been is very telling. And so I guess it's just about time for me to leap and trust, which I suppose leads into the beautiful thing about this gift as well, is that this gift of understanding brings about it with this urge to be of service. And I want to be of service via my podcast, by speaking, by sharing my voice, by telling my stories, by like letting you fully in and not hiding behind some superficial carousel post or some, it's just different. If you're on Instagram, I think you can feel those deeper energetic undertones of the app, and that it's, not all bad by any means, but there's the superficiality aspect of it. And I think it has all been a great self-awareness tool and way of us like getting to know ourselves on deeper levels, but it's also come with a lot of stickiness as well. And so I really want to start to leverage my podcast so that I can be of better service in a way that feels more aligned to me, especially as a self-projected projector. And so when it comes to this gift of understanding, it not only allows for me or anyone to see these underlying patterns, but it also gives you direct access to also understanding other people, of course. And it uses this gift to create new roles and systems to bring about positive change in the world, which is maybe what switching up my content strategy can do for me and also you, just like a being of greater service and bringing that positive change to the world. And so I guess I'll just have to be brave and not perfect and find out, won't I? Which is funny and ironic because that's always how I end these podcast episodes. But I just felt really called to share this truth so that I can support other people in feeling seen and in being less intolerant of themselves and in healing that division and confliction within themselves. Because whether you have this gene key activated in your profile or not, the gene keys are alive within all of us. We experience all of the different shadows. And for the ones that I brought up here, which are the shadow of intolerance and division, you experience them too. Like I just said, we're not exempt from any of it, even if they're not activated in your profile. All of the frequencies are alive within us. And that's why I feel it's so important to share this. So I just want to say thank you for listening to this. And I hope you're understanding with your whole being that this is relevant to all of us. And there's love to be found in the shadows. That's their purpose. Every shadow contains a gift, and every gift contains a highest essence that we get to embody, which are the Siddhic frequencies. And when we witness the folly of our existing habits and structures, the immaturity of thinking that we can think our way out of our problems, when true understanding comes from the body, from love, then we can create new patterns, shift things, rearrange them in new and original ways that not only serve ourselves, but serve others in the world. And this leads us to forgiveness, which is the city of the fourth gene key, which is something that I absolutely needed to do with all of this. I needed to forgive myself for being upset with myself, for trying to solve all these problems with my mind for so long when it was never my mind's job in the first place. Forgiveness is this frequency, it's an energy that extends beyond just our relationships with ourselves or others. It's actually very ancestral and incarnative and karmic. It stretches along our lineage and into the collective, and it's something that only our heart can do that. So, here's what I want to invite you into today. Forgive yourself for trying to solve all your problems with your mind. Forgive yourself for being too busy, for how things have been, for not giving yourself enough time and space to truly drop into your body, just like I needed to. And if you have the Gene Keys book, I want to invite you to crack it open and see which gene key calls to you. You could go to the very back of the book where the spectrum of consciousness is if you don't already have a specific one in mind, and you can see which words or which numbers pop out to you. And you can turn to that gene key or any gene key and find support for whatever challenge you might be facing. So, like I've said before, I wanted to show up as the woman behind it all today and be real and raw and honest and vulnerable with you and really connect with you on an emotional level, because I think that's what we all need, is to know that people's highlight reels aren't the whole story, that showing the little normal scary things behind it all is hard, but that's where the true love and lessons and power and connection come into play and help us grow closer together and feel less alone. And so I hope you felt that with me today. And if you're interested in going through your gene keys with support and community in a space to share how all of this is landing for you and what it means for your life and how it's helping you release this pain and confusion and intolerance and division, amongst other things, I want to invite you into the Gene Keys Book Club. We're going through the entire Golden Path together as a community, really giving ourselves time to tune in, listen within, and share together. We meet weekly, and if you need that anchor in your busy schedule like I do, with the permission to slow down instead of just staying busy and putting yourself on the back burner, then this space is for you. And it's of my highest intention to dissolve these feelings of division and intolerance and immaturity and restlessness and suffering within us. I can't take it all away by any means, but if I can help you recognize and understand and embrace your shadow patterns so that you can tap into the higher frequencies of your heart and your love and your body, that's what I want to do. And so you can find the link for the Gene Keys Book Club in the show notes. And it is both available in person if you're in Durango, Colorado, or remotely if you need to join virtually. And so either way, I hope that you got a lot out of this episode today and giving yourself permission to be the truth of who you are behind it all. And hopefully you have someone that you can share this with and allow yourself to be seen in all of your phases and stages of your process of life, and that you can meet your shadows and allow and accept and embrace them so you can alchemize them with the higher frequencies. And that's what we're doing. Like, this is emotional alchemy. And I know that if you're willing to go there and do that, that your heart and your body will thank you. And so I love you. Thank you for being here today. Until next time, be brave, not perfect, just like I am. And I'll talk to you later.